In the later stages of 2025, I began building my very own custom theme park in Planet Coaster 2 called Discovery Studios, and in 2026 we are continuing on with it, specifically with the brand new Pokemon themed land, which in the last episode we built a Mac family spinning coaster in and even a log flume, all within a nice Sinnoh based town. And in today's episode I'm going to be showing you all of the theming that I have put on these rides so far, along with giving you a POV of the spinning coaster. So be sure to watch till the end so you don't miss anything. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you want to see more Planet Coaster 2 content in the future, and be sure to go and check out some of my merch, which is still available, so go and cop some now, link in the description. And here we are then in Discovery Studios once again in the Pokemon themed land. This is episode 14 of the series. We are almost 3/4 of the way through, which is so sad, but yet so exciting because we still have this entire area to finish off with that huge dark ride at the back. And also, we have another area still yet to come. What can it be? I haven't announced anything except from what could be in it, but not the themes, so technically you know nothing. But you'll find out what it is at the end of next episode or in the one afterwards, depending on how the next episode goes, because the next big thing to build is that massive dark ride at the back of the Pokemon themed land. And you know how long it takes me to do dark rides. I'm really hoping it doesn't take me too long so I can release another episode next week, or maybe the week after at a push. I will try not to make it a month-long wait like it was for the F1 dark ride and also the Wallace and Gromit one, because I know they took so long. And the reason I did take so long on them is because I wanted to perfect them. I wanted to make sure they were as good as I wanted them to be. But that was a long wait for another episode, so I will try and, come to terms with the two, the long wait and also trying to build a good dark ride. I'll work something out. I can promise you of that. I don't think that makes sense. Anyway, as you can see, behind this fenced off area, I've actually left a plot of grass. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's that for? Is that for a future ride, a future, small area? Technically, it is a future small area because I want that to be a nice little playground. We don't have too many play areas or anything like that in this park so far, so I thought it'd be really nice to have one there themed to maybe one Pokemon or multiple, maybe some of the starter Pokemon that you see, not as in the actual starter Pokemon, but the ones you see at the start of the game, such as Bidoof and Starly, those types of ones. Those who've played Pokemon, especially the Sinnoh games, will know what I'm talking about. As they'll also know what I'm talking about when I say I messed up. Last time I said something I really should not have said, and that was the fact that Gyarados and Magikarp, the two Pokemon, the water-type Pokemon that are very, very well known in the whole Pokemon series, I said they were from the Sinnoh region, which if you don't know from the last episode, this area is fully based off of the Sinnoh region, so Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, that sort of one, because those were the first main games that I played all the way through of Pokemon, and I absolutely love them. I said that Gyarados and Magikarp were from those games, which they are not, because they're from a long time before that. I don't know how my brain didn't piece it together, because I literally knew that, and when I started seeing your guys' comments, I understood the frustration. So that entire water ride at the back was going to be themed to Gyarados and everything like that. I've decided against that now. I have changed the storyline of that water ride for the better, I would say, and I will explain a little bit more of that later on, because you're not going to see all the theming on that water ride yet, hence why in the intro I did say you're going to see a POV of the Max Spinner, but not necessarily that one, because I have not necessarily finished that one. So you will see that next episode. We'll do a full POV and tour of that ride and the entire area, including that big dark ride. Oh, it's going to be a big one. I'm going to explain what my sort of thought process is for that dark ride. I did explain a little bit last time about the story of it, not necessarily the ride system. This time I will be explaining that ride system, and I don't know how I'm going to make it yet, but I have some things in mind to make it work, and I cannot wait to get started on it. But as you can see, building a little house here. Good thing about the Pokemon area is the fact that I can build one of these houses and just sort of duplicate it at occasional points throughout the area and just change a little bit about it. So for instance, I could change the roof color, the wall color, or the window color, and it will make it look different. Obviously, I'm not just going to place that one house around the entire village or town. I'm going to make multiple houses, don't worry. You're even going to have a cafe, a coffee shop, and one of the Pokemon centers as well. You always find them in the Pokemon towns, and even the Poke Shop, if that's what it's called, the one with the blue Pokemart, that's it, Pokemart. Oh, I knew I could remember it. But you're going to see many different buildings and stuff that you do see in just a generic Sinnoh town. There might be a gym, maybe, which is obviously where they do like the boss battle of that town sort of thing. And you have to go through and fight them all, and then you get to the Elite Four, which is what the Dark Ride's based on. So maybe we won't do that, because what's the point in having two boss battle-esque buildings in the same area? We'll just keep it as the Elite Four at the back, no gym. So as you can see, building those pathways around those houses, there'll be way more in here. A couple flat rides as well. I've seen a lot of comments saying about Team Rocket somehow being included in this area. That will be happening, I can promise you that. The new parachute drop ride that they added in the toy box pack, I think that'd be amazing for Team Rocket, just putting like a red R on the top of all the parachutes and everything. I think that'd be great. The view from the top of the log flume itself, you can see the DEF CON area, so I would imagine the parachute ride, depending on where that is, the view off of that would also be quite funny, just looking off into the DEF CON area if you're on the wrong side. But the majority of the view of the Pokemon area will be really, really cool. And as you can see, building another house, slightly bigger than the previous one. Yeah, it's been so much fun building the Pokemon area so far. It's very sort of symmetrical, you know. You have it in sort of squares. You can already see the pathways laid out like that. And it's very easy to build, but at the same time, you can add so much detail. And I hope I've impressed you guys with the coaster, because I've decided to base that on the Pokeballs, like I said last time, but more so Professor Oak's laboratory in the Sinnoh games. So that's what the station is based off of. You're going to be in your Pokeballs on that train, and then you're going to sort of spin and twist round these turns where you're going to come face to face and encounter some of the starter Pokemon, well, all of them from the Sinnoh region. So that'll be really fun. I tried to make 3D models of them, and it was quite hilarious how bad they were. But you'll see that all later on as I build a Pokemon Center. Yes, I thought I'd have this directly as you come in. As of right now, you can't go in there, purely because it's a really small building, as you can see. I don't know what I would put in there. Maybe I might put like a little shop or something. That might be quite cool. But right now, I don't really know what to put in there. So if you have any suggestions on some small sort of building I can put in the Pokemon Center, that'd be great. A shop probably seems the most plausible. But I'm just building that now, as you can see. Yeah, we're coming towards the end of the series now. What a shame. That sounded really sarcastic. We are literally 6 episodes away from the finale of this. 6 episodes, does that make sense? We're on 14. Basically, episode 20 will be the final episode of this series, and I can't wait for the ending of the series, purely because it'll just be nice to sort of close it all off and be able to tour the park and look around. But at the same time, it will be equally just as sad, because obviously I've enjoyed this park so much. I've learned so much from Isle of Discovery, my original park, that I've brought into this, and obviously with the IPs and everything, it's been so different to anything I've ever built before, because obviously I've built recreations in the past and you base them off a real thing. Having full creative reign when you have an IP like Pokemon or Wallace and Gromit DEF CON or F1, it's been so much fun. So definitely more parks like this to come in the future. I'm not going to fully explain what's coming next on Planet Coaster, but there's some exciting park projects coming, or coaster projects, who knows. But here comes the roof of the Poke Center. It's got like a curved bit at the top which will go in soon. I apologize for my voice as well. My voice is really strained today for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't been screaming or anything. I haven't been on any roller coasters, you know, like flying fish. It's really scary, guys. No, I haven't been on anything like that, so I don't know why my voice is so strange. So I apologize if I sound a little bit croaky-ish. Pokemon Center going in now. That was the worst segue I think anyone's ever done in their life. But with the Poke Center now complete, here we go on Professor Oak's laboratory. Now, the original idea was to have these stone walls built up. I don't know which region it is that he has his big laboratory, which is like yellow and red roofed. But the one in Diamond and Pearl, that game, and even Platinum, I believe, is just a nice stone house with a massive blue roof with loads of like wooden columns, and it's got this separate piece that comes out of it with some like ventilation and everything. So I'm literally just recreating that from the game. And as you can see, just putting in some nice wooden slats on the side. Yeah, there's just not there's not much to say with these buildings really, because you sort of can see what's going on in front of you. As you can see, putting like these windows in, which I thought looked really cool. But you can sort of see what's going on, and there's not. Pokemon is so simplistic, like it works so well that it is just such a simple game. You literally go from town to town, where these towns are very similar to each other, and you just fight Pokemon. Sometimes you see the same Pokemon, and you collect them all. It's a very simple game premise, but it works so well, which is exactly why I decided to build it in this park, because we obviously have Formula 1, which is quite simple to follow because it's literally just a motorsport racing series. Wallace and Gromit, which is just sometimes a bit complicated, especially Wallace's love life. But most of the time it's quite a fun film and quite easy to follow. DEF CON is just a festival, and obviously Pokemon is a game where, again, pretty easy to get on board with. And I've seen a lot of comments saying that you're very excited to see what I do with the area and that dark ride in the back. So I really do hope you enjoy that when that does come to it. But to be fair, something I should probably talk about once I've done this, and I think it's about to switch to footage of me building them, here we go, is me building the Pokemon out of art shapes. If you don't know and you haven't played Pokemon before, there are 3 starter Pokemon when you start the game. Obviously, Pikachu also does exist in pretty much every game because he's literally like the main Pokemon that everyone knows. So I will be building him. But these Pokemon that you start with in the Sinnoh region in Diamond and Pearl, you've got Chimchar, which is the fire type, which is the one I'm building right now really poorly. Like, what is this? And then you've also got Piplup, who's water, which everyone loves Piplup. And also, Turtwig. What a boy. But this is one of the things that I've been wanting to perfect for so long, and I am nowhere near there yet. I did it with the Wallace and Gromit area, with the characters in there. Luckily, there was none in DEF CON or the F1 area, but there is in the Pokemon land, probably the most out of any of them. All these different characters that I have to try and build with art shapes. And you can build them with other pieces, but art shapes are just way easier than anything else because you can just make them so small and you can add little pieces here and there. Like, look at his smile. What is this guy doing? And then his like tail there, which I set on fire. Sorry, mate. But yeah, literally just all of this was based off of Chimchar, who is the fire type starter in those games. And as you can see, I then move on to Turtwig, who's the grass type one. Little turtle, if you couldn't tell by his name. And this guy, look at him already. It's coming together. Yeah, Chimchar looks terrifying. But you will encounter these guys on not only... Oh, well, these two you won't encounter on the log flume, but you will encounter Piplup on that log flume at some point. But you will encounter all of these on the huge spinning coaster. As you go around, there'll be a couple of effects, such as when Piplup goes past you, or you go past Piplup, there'll be some water splashes. And when you go past Chimchar, there'll be a couple fire blasts, but I think they might be a bit illegal with how close they get to the track and how much they linger. But just imagine they were realistic, okay? Adding the eyes on Turtwig now, as you can see. Oh, isn't he cute? What a guy. And yeah, genuinely, some of this art shape stuff, some of them look really like similar to what I'm trying to go for, such as, I guess Gromit looked pretty similar in the previous area before DEF CON. He looked pretty similar. These guys do not look similar to the real thing. I tried to add a leaf to his head and it just didn't work, so I just went for a bush pretty much. It's just really hard to get right, and I know there is a lot more pieces I could probably use to make this whole thing a lot more, you know, realistic to the real thing and everything like that, but it just works for now. I feel I'm going to get better and better. You're building art shape models and art shape people and whatnot. This just works for now, I feel. And it's not the greatest, but, you know, we'll take it. You can see what they are, I guess. But that's what I'm trying to go for, so at least you can tell it's Piplup. Here comes Piplup, by the way. Look at him. What a guy. Oh, so wholesome. He's going to spray water at you whilst you're on a max spinning coaster. Do you want to get wet on a max spinning coaster? Probably not, but I don't care, because it's a cool effect. And he's burning by his tail. Someone needs to put that out. And then Turtwig is growing a tree out of his head. Does he know it's there? No one knows. I'm losing the plot. But those 3 are now done, and we're moving on to Pikachu. I wasn't actually going to make Pikachu because I thought, what's the point in having him in a sort of ride that's based on all the starter Pokemon and obviously the main 3? Why would I have Pikachu in there? But you'll see what I'm going to do with the colour scheme of the track later on, because of course it was originally red. I've actually changed the whole colour scheme to green, and then I thought it'd be really cool when you see these starter Pokemon, and you know they're very well known for being different types, why don't I actually make it so the track changes colour to the type? So for instance, when you see Chimchar, it'll go orange. When you see Piplup, it'll go blue. Pikachu, yellow. It's green already, you can see in the background. So Turtwig, doesn't matter. You're too cool for that, so we don't need that. And here we go, putting them in now. I thought I'd have them a little bit bigger, just on the sidelines. Nothing too serious. No like amazing world-class theming. We need to have a couple areas that aren't like millions and millions pound budget, because every single area so far seems to have an unlimited budget to it. So I need to downscale it a little bit, and we're doing that so with this spinning coaster, because you're going to be spinning so fast anyway, you won't be able to see anything around you. And there goes Chimchar, a couple of him. I tried to limit it to 3 of the starter Pokemons each around the ride, because I feel like if you had... Look at the fire! Oh my god! Imagine if that was the fire blast that you went through. There you go, look, you can see it like puffing out occasionally. Really, really cool there. And a couple of bushes going in, a couple of rocks. And then, yeah, just sort of making that colour scheme change a little bit after doing some support work. Yeah, custom supports on this, most of it. Still work in progress, some even not joined up. But, you know, I'll sort that out, I promise. I'll sort it. I do love custom supporting. There's a weird sort of satisfaction to it. When once you finish it, you're just a bit like, you know what? That looks so much better than it did with the original supports on the ride. Here goes that colour scheme change. Yeah, I had to do a lot of custom supports for this one because there's a lot of like overlapping parts that I needed to get around. You can see like the long support column that goes horizontal underneath the lift hill and the top of the drop. That is so that it can hold up that, you know, helix that comes off the drop. And then, yeah, Piplup's down there, and then Pikachu should go in right now. There he goes. He's got a little spark coming out of him as well as you fly past, and we're going to POV that in just a moment. But before we go into real time, why not have a look quickly, if it wants to cut. Is it going to cut, please? There we go. Why not have a look at the theming so far on the log flume? I've decided to change that storyline, like I mentioned, from the sort of water Pokemon-esque vibe, because I feel like that was just a bit, you know, I was basing it off of a Pokemon that wasn't even part of this region. What am I doing? So I've actually based it off of one of the main plot points of the game, which is Mount Coronet, I believe you call it. I think that's how you say it. And Mount Coronet is the big mountain that you climb up in the game. You go through all these caves and everything, which is perfect for the queue line. And then you make your way up the top of the mountain, and you face off with the legendary Pokemon of the game's choice, because one game has one legendary and the other has another, so whatever, you get what I mean. That'll be at the peak of the mountain in the games, and there'll also be a legendary Pokemon at the top of the peak of the mountain here, so you're gonna have to stay tuned for that next episode as we go into real time. And you join me here at the front of the Pokemon World portal. Pokemon World, is that what we're calling it now? What is this guy doing? You could look a slight bit happier, mate. But as we walk under the portal right through into the Pokemon land, here we are. There'll be some nice route music playing right now, or like the town music playing that you get in the games. Oh, isn't it beautiful? The Mac family spinner off to the right with some finished supports and others not even connected. And yeah, you can see that very striking colour scheme where it's very green up the top. I'm getting Alton Towers vibes, trying to hide it from the tree line. And then all of those different colours down at the bottom, where you should be able to see Piplup. Look, Piplup and Pikachu. Oh, look, he's sparking away. I actually do really like this segment of the ride. It quickly whips round. You can see the Pokeballs spinning on the ride cars. Oh, there it goes. And yeah, you've got various buildings like you saw me building in the time lapse. You've got the Poke Center here, which I do think will turn into a shop now that I think about it. The playground section right here where I want to put some apparatus. That'll be really nice in this corner over here. It'll be a really nice sort of break from the other rides and attractions in the park. We've actually got like something that is like playground, play area-esque. And then as we keep walking, we make our way to where the entrance of the Pokeball ride is. I haven't got a name for it yet because I feel like I'm changing the story of all of these rides every minute, so I didn't want to settle on a name just yet. But if you have any name suggestions, now you know it's based on the starter Pokemon and everything like that, then please be sure to leave it down in the comments. And I just love how in the background throughout this entire area you can see Mount Coronet right at the top there, and you'll be able to see another mountain with the Elite Four right behind Latte Love, all the way in the distance over there. But more on that later. We need to ride a roller coaster. As we enter into the queue line, a very simple queue. Again, work in progress still. I could probably add like covers and everything to this. The log flume going in the distance. Nice little smoke from the chimney. And then lo and behold, we are on the ride. I'm going to do a front bumper POV first, and then we'll go around spinning because the spinning POV is quite disorientating. So I just want to make sure you can see where we're going first. Cresting over the top of the lift hill, look at that view out to the center of the park. No other coaster in the park has that sort of view. And you see Turtwig down there. There we go, twisting up. Look at the lag. Absolutely incredible. I genuinely don't know what's going on with my computer. It was completely fine. Going a little airtime hill over Professor Oak's laboratory. Look at the Chimchar fire effects. Whoa, look at that. And then we helix down towards Piplup's area, spraying some water into Pikachu's section, where you might see him twice or the once. There he is. Aww. And then round into the brake run. Fun little ride, that. And when we're spinning, yeah, it goes a bit mental. So I'm glad I showed you the front bumper POV and then this one. Although it appears the lag has finally stopped on my computer. Wow, look at that. We went straight for a little bit and then we're back to spinning. God, this is Ride to Happiness level. Maybe this was a Mac Extreme spinner all along. Look at this. Look at this helix. Whoa, we're spinning so much. And then we should go into one final helix. I say I should. Well, the coaster should, even though I know what the layout is. S-curving towards the end. And then you exit down those stairs to the left over here as you have a nice view of the coaster you have just ridden. Some stairs over there that will go to the next area, but that doesn't matter now because we are heading towards Mount Coronet for a brief little look at the log flume. Here it is, as you can see, currently shut. Well, it's actually running now, but the boats are pretty stacked up. What's going on? Like I said, it is all work in progress. This is nowhere near finished yet, and you can see that main drop and the sort of temple-esque building at the top with all the snow and ice on top of the mountain, and even some scaffolding here and there up the lift hills and everything. As you can see, this is quite a big water ride, which is why it's going to take me a little bit longer to finish it off, but we'll be POVing that and sort of showing you all the theming process and everything in the next episode. I can promise you that. But as we come around this house right here, very lonely looking as there's nothing else around except from these three Pokemon over here. They're tiny, look at them. Aww, let me pet them. To the left, where these trees are right here, will be more mountainous terrain as it works up towards where the Elite Four building will be. I feel like this area gets bigger every single time I film a video in this area, but this will be the Elite Four dark ride that will be the entire focus of the next episode, and I'm going to show you the entire build process of it, hopefully. And if I haven't said it already, that dark ride will be the main centerpiece of this area, and it's going to follow a similar system, I hope, to the Battle of the Ministry dark ride at Epic Universe, which is going to be quite hard to replicate, but I'm so down for this challenge. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode when that does drop, and you can see the log flume and that dark ride in its full glory. And I hope you did enjoy this nice little spinning coaster and what we've done so far in the area. See you next time.